Hey guys, this is Mel, and I'm here to talk about Shadowhunters, episode 110, titled This World Inverted, which premiered Tuesday, March 15, 2016 on Freeform. And guys, what an interesting episode that was. So let's get started with the 10-minute clock. Reminder, chances are I will mention something that happened in the first 3 books, because I need to say something about that, but just a reminder for that. And let's begin 10-minute clock, and let's go. So something new that we learned in this episode. So in this episode, Clary travels to an alternate dimension, and we see Simon with Izzy, Jocelyn with Valentine, Jace and Clary. We see Magnus and Alec, and they're complete opposites to the way we see them now. It's actually Alec who sees Magnus as a challenge as opposed to it being the other way around in our world that we're used to. So Clary goes in to try to find the portal that belongs to her portal shard, because that portal is what connects to where Valentine is in Chernobyl, I think it is. So she has to go into this other world to find it while trying not to succumb to otherworld Clary. And in this other world, there are no Shadowhunters. They're still downworlders, but they have acclimated themselves into the mundane world. Therefore, Shadowhunters aren't needed. So it's interesting to see what life would have been like and what everyone's role would have been if this need to hunt down evil wasn't present. In our world, as you can say, we see Luke and Simon helping each other out. Simon is dealing with being a vampire. He basically has to learn control. He compares it to puberty happening for him all over again. And Luke actually asks for Simon's help in trying to get the Internal Affairs agent Fisk off his back, who thinks that Luke is the serial killer. So they made it so that Simon was the serial killer, with Luke saving Fisk's life when Simon takes him. So that was an interesting little mission for them, which is pretty cool. And back at the Institute, we see Alec trying to help Izzy after she is arrested. I think it was for treason. So he tries to get her out of her trial by using the Mortal Cup as a bargaining chip to give to the Clave, only to realize that Jace has already stolen the Mortal Cup. So that betrayal was realized. Therefore, Alec he doesn't really have anything to get Izzy off of her charges, so now she has to suffer that fate. And we also see the parapeti tracking coming into play here, which I'll touch upon later on. But what was the most shocking moment of this episode? The fact that Jace and Clary found Jace's father at Valentine's base in Chernobyl. I mean, shocker right there, because, correct me if I'm wrong, people, but in the books, his father is dead. At least in the first 3 books, he's been established to be dead, and there's no way of him returning in those first 3 books, unless that changes later on. But that completely shocked me, because I thought that he's already dead, there's no way he's coming back from the past. But apparently, just like Jace, he thought that his father died, and it turns out it's this guy trapped as a prisoner. So that surprised me completely. So, moving on, top 3 favorite moments. First one has to be the trip to the alternate dimension. Hang on. Sorry, my throat is crazy. But anyway, trip to the alternate dimension was fun, just to see what alternate versions of these characters we've grown to love would be like. So we see Alec being an event planner and more confident in himself and going after what he wants. We see Izzy tapping into her inner nerd and being completely in love with Simon to the point that he's about ready to ask her to move in together. We see Clary and Jace hot and heavy together, and him being nervous when he meets Valentine for the first time. We see Valentine and Jocelyn so in love with each other and having a little bit of fun with the fact that their daughter's off to college and dating. It's just it's interesting to see that relationship, considering what it is now in our world. And then just to see Magnus, who is still a warlock, but he hasn't used his magic in so long, and just see him being all reserved and whatnot was definitely interesting to see all these different versions of them, and I really like that. I wonder if we'll ever see them again. Another favorite moment for me has to be Clary and Magnus, or alternate universe Magnus. Their relationship is fantastic. I love their dynamic. It seems no matter what universe they're in, they still have this great chemistry between each other, and they click. I swear, it's like it's like he's the fun uncle or something to her. And also we see Church the cat. I remember in the books that Church is Hodge's cat back at the Institute, so it was great to even see that they even brought Church the cat up, even if he is Magnus's. So that was pretty funny, and I really like that. Especially that I remembered it too, since it's been so long since I read the first 3 books. And next favorite moment has to be Luke and Simon, their whole little bonding time, I guess you could say. Simon realizes there's actually really no difference between werewolves and vampires, except they hate each other, and yet dealing with the transition of being one is kind of the same thing, having to learn with control and possibly the same triggers being common between the two. And then when Luke helps Simon learn how to control, and Simon actually helps Luke get out of his internal affairs business. So I really liked how that happened, especially for Simon. When he was acting all the bad guy, I was like, oh my god, he's such a different person, and yet he completely owned it. If I didn't know that's, like, at first I thought, before I even realized that this was all a hoax for Agent Fisk, sorry, I actually thought that Simon as a vampire completely changed him, and he's become this evil version of himself. I really thought that it was that much of a 180, so it was really believable, and I was astounded by the attitude change. I was like, whoa, is this a new Simon or what? And then to find out that he was actually playing the part for Luke, it was just even more fantastic. It's like, man, it's like, did you take drama, kid, or what? Or are you just an accountant major and whatnot? I don't know, I just really like that. It was very fun to watch, for sure. So, next, top 3 peak moments. I only have the one, and it is the fact that Alex stated that Jace was dead to him, and that he even risked the parabatai bond between them to track him down in the Seelie world. I mean, that was some pretty intense tracking. I mean, Hodge advised him against it. Izzy told him not to do it, and he refused to listen. He just went right through it, and it looked like a grueling process for them. Granted, the only saving grace about it is the fact that Alec was willing to go through all that just so he could find a way to get Izzy out of her trial and have all the charges dropped against her. But the fact that he'd risk something like that with Jace, it really unnerved me. It's really unsettling how much of an influence Lydia has over Alec, or how much the fact that his parents were ex-circle members, that secret, how much that has affected him too. It's just like, wow, it's just, ever since he found that out, he's completely gone against the people he's grown up with, and who he's trained with, and who he's fought alongside. So it's just, Alec is heading down a very disagreeable path, I guess I should say. Not dark necessarily, it's just, I don't agree with it for sure. So what will I remember most when I look back on this episode? The fact that we got to see the alternate world. I definitely like that for sure. Random questions. First one, did Alec break the parabatai bond with Jace, or is it just weakened? I completely missed that part. I know it was mentioned, but I can't remember which version of it was mentioned. So did he break the bond, or was it just weakened? Because I know he mentioned that it felt like Jace was a ghost to him now. So, like, does it actually mean something, or what? Next question. Does this mean that Valentine has had Jace's father as a prisoner for all these years? I mean, what purpose does he have in keeping him prisoner? That's definitely going to cause more questions for sure. And last question. Is there any way to communicate between the two worlds? I would loved it if, like, Clary got to still stay in contact with alternate universe Magnus, or if the two Magnuses got in contact with each other. That'd be fantastic. It reminds me of the season 6 finale in Charm, where the Halliwell sisters found this mirror, and it actually, and instead of the reflection, it showed the reflection of their alternate universe self. So like where they were in a world that was purely good prevailed. There's a timer, but on the opposite side of the mirror, it's when evil prevailed, and you see like their evil twins, I guess you could say, through that mirror. So this kind of reminded me of that, and I hope they can have some sort of communication like that. Sorry, which would be fantastic. So moving on to predictions very quickly, based off the promo for 111, we see Izzy's trial happening. We also see a battle that is coming, involving a lot of Shadowhunters, and we also see a steamy kiss between Jace and Clary, so that's exciting to see. Overall prediction for me, though, I think alliances will be tested on many fronts. You got Jace and Alec, you got Jace and Clary, Simon and Clary, you got Izzy and Alec, and a whole bunch of other different alliances. I guess you could also say relationships as well will be tested, and it'll be interesting to see how that happened. So what did you guys think of the episode? What did you like about it? Did anything from the books really stand out for you in here or contradict it like I mentioned before? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your own thoughts, theories, and predictions, or even your own things that you picked up on that are connected to the books. Let me know. I'd love to hear about it. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. Also, if you want to see more stuff, whether it's reblogged from promos to web clips to quotes to GIFs to any of that, check out my Tumblr page. Link for that will be down below for this episode specific, as well as for all Shadowhunter tags that I have on Tumblr. For that link, just click it and scroll all the way down the bottom, and there you have it. And that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. I truly appreciate it. So sorry for the quality in my voice. I'm trying to get over this cough that I have, and you can kind of hear it throughout the video. I'm trying to not cough, but I wanted to record this before it got delayed too far. But hopefully it'll be better by next week. But until then, this is Mel. Wish you all a great day, great week, wherever you are. Bye for now.